opening and introducing yourselves and your roles to the audience. Thank you, please.
So, good afternoon to all. So, I'm JP Pagkaliwagan. I'm working with Globe. So, currently I'm heading the master planning for facilities covering both data centers and the access sites. But previously, I'm heading the data center build from planning to engineering and execution.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Ernesto Rufino Jr., just call me June. I am the current Vice President of ICT from Royal Cargo. It's a logistic company, and more on focusing on information technology and cybersecurity. By the way, I'm a project management professional and CISM, CRISC, and CISA certified. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to the first question. So, JP, I'll direct this at you if I may. Obviously, I don't know whether you've seen all the sessions this afternoon, but I guess the Huawei presentation and their description of how the rack power density and therefore challenges around the cooling and the delivery of power to the racks as we start to introduce, new technology like the NVIDIA GPUs and the like, and rack densities that have grown steadily over the years have suddenly done that. How do we overcome those challenges, from elements like site selection, scalability, sustainability, and how do we face up to the challenges of commissioning these large data centers, particularly those that we're seeing popping up now in the region, not so much yet here in the Philippines, that are in excess of 300 megawatt of IT load?
That's basically a lot of questions.
It's a huge question.
Yeah, it's a huge question. No? It's basically from the start idealization up to the integration and commissioning. But let us break it into the process stages now. So, the challenges on the design itself, no, site selection. There's a lot of challenges there, no. But you have to create the criteria first, and then you can process and assess, no. What I mean is, in the region of Manila or in the Philippines, what we can say the biggest challenge is power services and connectivity also in terms of fiber open fiber solution or connectivity. So how are we going to address that? No, so like we have to do some partnership, or we have to look for power providers on top of the like distributors like Meralco. We can go to Aboitiz. We can really uh look for the open market, the WSM, or we can look for the retail energy sourcing, something like that, no. And while you also have to consider the geo hazard, especially here in the Philippines, and addressing that is you have to look for a data references, no. There are some government pages that can give you idea on flooding, typhoon path, earthquake zoning. So you can refer that. You can refer to those pages from the government. Those those are reliable ones. and and then also community and regulations local. So we have to partner with our LGUs, make at least community engagement to fast track your permits and things. Not so those are part of the build challenges, and there's a lot of things also, no, logistics and things, but those are coming during the execution part. And then if we are looking for the scalability and integration, those parts are within the design phase item, no. So you have to put in mind, are we going to do modularity? So that's the best way to do or to grow easily in a way. So there's a lot of strategy in doing modular. You can do brick and mortar building, but in a way it's half build modularity inside, or you can go straight away containerize. So that's those are some solutions that we can input to the to data center build now. And a 300 megawatt size, that's a lot. 100 megawatt is 400 to 500, 600 racks. So that's a lot of build, no? Logistically, design and everything. There's more than a challenge in the site selection itself. Okay.
Yeah, it's getting crazy. My colleagues in the US and in Europe are both currently building a 1 gigawatt facility, one in Northern Virginia, one in Norway. And I've been in this industry 30 years, and it just blows my mind that we're building facilities of that scale. And the other thing, just in response to what you said there, which is very specific to the Philippines, when people talk to me about, building and operating data centers in Japan, they always focus on the earthquake, but here in the Philippines, we've got earthquake, we've got flood, we've got typhoon, we've got volcanic eruption,
We got everything.
and you've got the lot. They're all mitigatable through design and operational excellence, but it does make this place quite a challenge.
Yeah. Every solution is there on the engineering, but somehow it will translate into a commercial portion wherein decisions will be balanced between your design, your commercial or financial capability. And of course, at the end of the day, you have to keep in mind who are you serving with, no? If you're building a collocation data centers, then you really have to put up things up. Otherwise, when you market it, it will be hard for you to market it. But if you are building a data center for internal use, then at least you can do some value engineering, let go some of those strict guidelines that we have in the industry.
Thank you. So now to Jun. Now, obviously, you have a very interesting background and experience. You sit between cybersecurity and operations for data center. How do you think the challenges of cybersecurity and the opportunities of AI are likely to influence data center operations going forward?
Yeah, so eventually, on the next 20 years, I believe that everything, even in data center, will adopt AI, artificial intelligence, in a way, especially if there's a client needed support, they need to create a ticket, and some those service desk or service engineer is the one who's answering all their requests, but it's gonna be automatically generated through AI, especially. And of course, also about the cybersecurity. Again, well, if a data center, the way that you protected your network should be zero trust. They're coming for the zero trust. Make sure it's gonna be more on part of segmental as well. It depends on the client what they collocate, or if you have a legacy server or something. So they need to go for zero trust network as well. And well, it's gonna be big opportunity to everyone. Yeah, especially those students who are taking Bachelor of Cybersecurity and Bachelor of Artificial Intelligence. On the next 20 years, it's be more demanding, not only in other office but also in the data center when it comes to operationals. So,
Yeah, I said in closing comments in an earlier panel today that if you've got children in school right now, push them towards AI and cybersecurity, because that's going to be a career for many, many, many years to come, if eternity. Could I maybe just then ask a follow-on question sort of related to that, but more about the way that we actually build the data center to JP? You know, we're putting more and more complexity into the design of these facilities. I mean, we've gone from years and years of cooling them with air to now cooling them with liquid. We're either putting that direct to the chip, or we're throwing them into the servers into baths and cooling it immersion. We're also installing AI monitoring, AI intelligence across the systems, and we're trying to also deal with those challenges of not just cybersecurity but also physical security. How do we maintain the resilience that we need in those facilities to ensure that they remain operational and never go down in the future.
Okay. Resiliency of a data center really starting on the design. So you really have to pick you have to choose the equipment or the strategy or the solutions that you're going to to deploy or to execute. And keeping in mind also the growth of it. So that you can easily adjust when there's a new technology already. But having it resilient, normally the designers or the facility guys like us will always do redundant. So you will have your redundancy, putting up equipment, N+1. You will have your 2N or your redundant system or your second leg, A and B. But financially, those are costly in a way, no? But uh, it will give you the time to do some maintenance, to do your testing, uh, and operationally, in a way, having those resiliency is doing some testing. No, you don't install your equipment and just forget it. You really have to exercise it to ensure that your availability is up and keeping it up as a resilient network. No? So there are many programs that you can do. There are also many ways of solutions. No, like cooling system. So when you design a cooling system, which is basically cooling system is the most uh, contributor of PUE in the data center. So when you design a cooling system, you choose between chilled water, fan wall, in row, in combination with hot aisle or cold aisle. So you keep in mind how can I be resilient. So there will always be redundant chilled water pipes. There will be bulbs that you can transfer your operations in a way if there will be some issues along the way of the route of the pipes. No, but those are physical. You have to combine it with a process so that you can make it, you can work at it, or you can ensure it that it will be working when you need it. So by doing that, you're you can be helped by those digital monitoring now. There are many brands of DCIM on the market. Most of them are having AI platform already wherein they can give you real time, and they can give you analytics whether whether your system is due for maintenance or due for cleaning already. So with those tools with you, and your program process on how to manage your equipment, I think you can ensure your resiliency and availability anytime. So I think that's how we should look at it already in data center.
I obviously I'm from London, but I've lived in Asia now for nearly 25 years. But I obviously paid a lot of attention last Friday when the substation very close to Heathrow Airport caught fire and the transformer exploded, and it took down Heathrow Airport, the UK's largest airport. I think it's the third busiest airport in the world. It took it down for about 8 hours. But there are 15 data centers connected to that same substation. And they're all in that Heathrow Slough area as you go west out of London. Not one of them went down, right? Because of that resiliency and the testing, the commissioning, and the operational excellence around making sure that all the procedures, both standard operating and emergency operating procedures, were tested regularly. So I think that's a real testament to our industry that the third largest airport in the world went down, but not a single data center in the area went down.
Yeah,
Oh,
I would like to add something else. So yeah, just like the data center, what we did is especially to make it available 24/7 about the redundancy. Again, the power, as Sir told us that the power coming from the south and north grid should be from south and north grid. And then also we have solar panel, yeah, for the power, as well with the two genset for the backup. And we make sure that we have a contract on the nearest gasoline station that we're the first one that they will fill a gasoline whenever there's an issue or something. Yeah, so it may be available. And additional to that, the meet me room of the data center, it should be all ISPs are available, and also the peering, if you're at the international peering, so that any client that will go to the data center get a service, everything will be available for them easily. You can tap it. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, resilient power, as we said at the beginning of the session, is a challenge here. You know, my house in Versailles, I have to have a standby generator. I've got solar panels. You know, I have a resilient house, and in fact, I view the utility power as my backup, not my primary. I swap it around. So, um, going back to June, I'd like to ask you a question. And I realize it's a very, very wide open question, and you can choose how you choose to answer it. But from the angle of cybersecurity, you know, what are the main threats to a data center that exist today? And where do you think the likely next generation of threat is going to be coming from, and how are we going to mitigate against it?
Well, actually, one of the number one threat from data centers that we encountered is the DDoS attack. Yeah, the DDoS is the denial of service, yes, attack. Wherein most of the client of the data center, that's the number one threat or attack that they encountered. Especially when the DDoS pump your network, it will flood your network and it will be hang up. All your equipment will hang up. So that's the first thing what to do is number one, you should have a good anti-DDoS attack. Or there's an on-prem and we have a cloud-based anti-DDoS. I don't mention names because I cannot say it here. What are those? What are those brands? So we have on-prem and cloud-based anti-DDoS, wherein we can use it. And again, on the next 20 years, I believe there will be an AI-driven anti-DDoS automatically. Yeah, that we can do. Eventually, there's a company right now, they're using AI for the anti-DDoS. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much. I was reading a piece of Jones Lang LaSalle research this morning. I don't think we've published it yet, so this is advanced data. But our research team globally has analysed every data centre that currently exists in the world, and they've come to the conclusion that only 19% of those data centres are AI ready. That means that 81% of the global data center capacity is not AI ready. So this brings me to a question that I'll put to both of you, and please, whoever feels more comfortable, or both of you, go for it. The industry is changing so fast; it's way quicker than at any time in my personal 30-year career. How do we future-proof to ensure that the buildings we have today will be relevant in the future?
Okay, let me answer that first. No, on the physical view, my co-panelist here is on the network side view. So futuristic data center in a way on the physical view. So on the design or on the planning stage still, no, you really have to consider your growth. So at least you are future proof. You can expand, uh, and you can accommodate your client when they ask for it. Okay. The design or the topology of your electrical system, your cooling system, again, it will fall on the modularity approach. Whether you break your capacity into a series of ratings that you can integrate moving forward, or when those equipment becomes EUL, you can replace them without much downtime to your data centers, or basically zero downtimes to your data centers. Similar to your gensets, to your coolings, to your electrical systems, wherein you break your distributions into layers of individual or two PIDs per requirement. So at least you will have your options to future proof your system. Whatever uh, upgrades, whatever expansions, or when those data centers gets old and you need to retrofit it into a into a new technology, at least you have an options to do a migrations or interconnectivity without a shutdown requirement. So that's how we look at it on a physical view. Yeah. And then your monitoring also that comes with analytics will tell you that your system can move. You can make adjustments. When are your peak hours? When are your low peak hours wherein you can do your activities to do your upgrades or change something that has to be changed. So that's how I see a picture proof data center on a physical view. Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. The modularity approach is definitely the way forward. We're seeing it now really as a standard across all new data centers. And just going back to something you said earlier about the build time, we're actually now seeing data centers, particularly in Johor Bahru in Malaysia, from the day they break the ground with a spade to the day the keys are handed over to the operations team is 9 months. And that's done by modularization and factory fabrication. And the lorries that are bringing this componentry to site are huge.
The expansion is much easy, and yet your future look is larger. It's much larger that you can design. I mean, if you have that big lot and everything, you can design it as a full data centers. But your day one, your day two, your day three will be you have to consider how much you can break per capacity, per rating, per number of racks. That will decide really.
And don't commit to a design too early.
Otherwise, you will have a white space.
Yeah, exactly.
There.
Yeah. Jun, one for you, and again, this is quite an open question, so please take it as you'd like to. We just talked about all the complexity. We talked about the cyber risk. We talked about operational excellence. Where do you think, and what's your prediction of what data center operational excellence will look like in 20 years? What will be different?
Again, on the next 20 years, I believe data center will be enhanced with, again, there's still a support for the NOC and the SOC. Okay, so basically, I believe that the support of the network engineer are still there. Still there. They still need physically on the data center, especially if you have a client. Network engineers, security engineer are very important. Still have a very important role in terms of data center. Yeah, I believe also the facilities team has a very important role still in the data center. Yeah, so you can just well, in the next 20 years, I believe again the support, it can be integrated into artificial intelligence native. Yeah, wherein those service engineers, I guess, if you have service engineers, they're gonna lose job. But again, we need to train them. Yeah, basically of what other positions that they can work with. Because basically, if you go to the AI will take place automatically. So in the next 20 years, I still believe that network engineers, security engineers, facilities engineers, they're still at data center. They're still there. We need them. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay, so to add with those future thinking, no, I think it's more of a growth. When we started data centers long way back, I think it's like 5 kilowatt, 3 kilowatt. Now the projection is 120 kilowatt per rack, and how much more maybe next year on the next data center conference that we are going to attend, They will say it will be 200 kilowatt already. So, but all of us are adjusting, no? I mean, not only us in the operator side, but all of us here, including those service providers and equipment. So they are basically anticipating. What we just have to keep in mind, being a data center personnel, is how are we going to use those technologies also that align with the racks? How are we going to integrate it into a combination of solutions? No? I mean, there's a lot of cooling system, there's a lot of UPS and batteries, but combining it into a more futuristic, I mean, sustainable combinations or solutions will be the task for us to do, and it's for us to design, and keeping in mind that you have to operate it also in a way that there should be uh, green solutions with it, sustainable operations like that, and keeping it available all time. So I think that has to it's for us to bear in mind when we are looking into the data center growth.
I was at a conference in the US in January, and had a chat with one of the global design leads for one of the big four cloud companies, and I asked him. I said, you know, what's your prediction for how we're going to design data centers in 5 years' time? And he said, I have no idea. So if those guys don't know,
Who knows? Maybe tomorrow 300 kilowatt per rack. That's why liquid coolings are coming.
Exactly. Hey, I'm very conscious that we're up on time. There's two reasons for that. One, beer is going to be served very shortly out in the lobby here, and secondly, I have to jump a grab and go to the airport to get my flight. So I'd really like to thank JP and Jun for their contribution this afternoon. Very, very interesting and useful. So please join me in thanking them.
Thank you.